Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 151. And this week was my pick, a documentary series on Hulu called Betrayal, The Perfect Husband. But before we get into the documentary, Jay, what makes a perfect husband?
Oh, you're asking the wrong dude.
Come on, let me hear it. What do you got?
I would think someone who's loving, caring, faithful, and honest. How about that?
Loving, caring, faithful, and honest. There's one thing I think that you're missing that's very, very important in every relationship. Good communication.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with that.
I think so.
I would agree with that. Communication's huge, though. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. You
Can I
never
preface this?
ever undersell communication.
Can I preface this with a disclaimer, because I feel like I'm going to expose some of my former self here. I am a much changed man. I'm doing much better in my current relationship than I have done in previous relationships. I would just like to state that before I start talking about my comments on this episode.
So that was probably for one specific person, but
well, for the listeners too, because they're going to go, "Oh, this guy's a douchebag." Well, I was a bad boyfriend prior. I'm trying to be a much better
I don't think a lot of people probably thought that you weren't.
that
I don't think anyone would have been like, Jay? No, not Jay. No way, Jay.
Well,
no,
I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit on
maybe
my former
now,
self,
but not then. This documentary series is pretty crazy because, like us, it started out as a podcast.
I've got some comments on her as well.
Can
I just say?
Well, hold on. So, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, if you get cheated on, there's two roads to take. Go, man, that sucks. Okay, I'm gonna cut ties, and also you should probably look at yourself and why it happened. There's probably a two-way street, right? And let it go. But to dig and want to know more and go crazy about it. I need to talk to all these women that he cheated with. That's just going to make your head go loony. Make a whole, this one went extreme. She made a podcast and a documentary about it, about a guy cheating.
Well,
move on, man.
You're
only hurting yourself.
There was a little bit more to it than that, though. I mean, it all yes, I get what you're saying. You're going to make yourself crazy. In a different situation, where if you were cheating, so your partner was unfaithful to you and you didn't know why, and so you just obsessed about figuring out what it is because you needed closure. That I guess I get what you're saying could be unhealthy in a certain way. Some people need closure. I would probably be that person too, because I just need the closure. But in regards to this woman, I mean, it started with the police coming to her house and saying, "Hey, your husband, by the way, sexually assaulted a teenager that was at his school." That in this case would make me definitely want to say, holy crap, has he been doing this the whole time we've been together? Did he do this when we were in college or friends?
Not see red flags?
See, that's the thing, though. I
guaranteed he was not leaving his phone on the counter with no password.
Hell no. And he probably had biometrics on it too.
Red flag right there. Red flag number one.
But that's the thing, though. I am in a relationship with someone that we completely trust each other because we've never given each other a reason not to trust each other. And so I get that you're saying that's a red flag, but at the same time, I wouldn't consider it a red flag because I'm not always looking around my wife going, "Where's her phone? Why isn't she facing me with her phone?" Like, I've never had that kind of like, so I would say that if you feel that way in a relationship, that's a red flag too.
Yeah. I feel like she missed a lot of red flags. So
of course she did.
Very, very.
But he was also really good at being.
Well, yeah, you get very good at
the perfect husband.
You get very good at it. I've been on his side of the fence,
and that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to spill that candy in the lobby. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7.
Women, stop listening now.
104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 151. This week we watched my pick. It was called Betrayal, the Perfect Husband. It's funny because I think I was watching one of your picks and the commercial for this played, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is Jay all day. We got to watch this one."
I will give you this: the guy had the Jay Stevens playbook
So explain to me, for those of you who don't know, I'm a massive fan of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and there's an episode about what they call the Dennis system and how he gets girls, gets laid, and then completely cuts ties with them. It's one of the funniest episodes on TV of all time. I suggest you watch it if you haven't. But tell me, Jay, what is the Jay Stevens system?
Just the same thing he would do. You'd wake up in the morning, you would text an assortment of women, something sweet in the morning, and maybe see which one is free available that day for a quick hookup
every single day.
There was a time in my life when every day of the week easily, could have had a different person.
See, that's okay. And that's, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think this is a really, really good point I'd like to make. And I always make this point with like people that are always like breaking the law, like stealing carburetors or ripping off AC units to steal copper out of them. How much work does it take to do that?
Dude, it's a lot of stress.
Whenever you could just get a job and work, and get $14 an hour, and you don't have to break the law, and you're getting paid and maybe even benefits. The same thing goes with this. It's like, dude, relationships for me are just, it's hard. Like I said, communication, my friend, that's hard.
To juggle is
dude, every day, my guy. I couldn't do two, let alone a multiple every day. I would lose my mind.
Yeah, it's very, very. You got to multitask. It's not.
Is that part of the thrill?
No, I don't know if that's part of the thrill, but
just the anxiety of it.
I just the attention and like when it's. Now, granted, also being in a rock band, it gets kind of thrown at you anyway.
Well, of course, so in your public eye, for sure.
Put that on top of the player mentality, when it's just thrown like offered at you so much, it's like, well, why not? Okay, sure,
and just see where it goes.
Yeah,
man, it's just too much. I just don't know.
And like I said, now
he's a good guy. I'll
better,
test. I'll test.
I think the reason too is the relationship I'm in now. First and foremost, we're just best friends.
Yeah, that's good.
So if that little devil ever does pop up, like, hey, this chick's hitting on you, nobody would ever know. It's like, well, why would I want to screw over my best friend? So I think I'm in a much better place now. Plus, all boxes get fulfilled. Like, I'm in a good spot.
That's good.
Much better spot.
Hopefully, you keep it that way.
And probably a lot of it, probably is my growing up, I probably needed attention, or there was some lacking in my childhood.
maybe a little bit of the nice, wholesome Mike the Intern is rubbed off on you. See? Maybe after all these years,
a better guy
took a long time.
Many years.
Took a long time.
I'm a better guy, says the guy who takes his shirt off every weekend for tons of women.
But at the end of the day, it's an entertainment. It's a job, and as long as it's communicated that this is a job and this is what I do, then you should never have an issue. Like I said, there's no problem if there's no problem, and you don't make me feel like there needs to be a problem. I don't need to be where's your phone at?
Well,
I don't
that's
live
the
like
thing.
that.
If you're in a relationship and maybe you think everything's cool, but hey, he always takes his phone in the bathroom with him when he goes to the shower. Very random, very weird. That's a big flag. Phone's always locked, always secretive, always late. Sometimes doesn't answer the phone. These are all red flags. Guaranteed, all these red flags were hitting with her, and she was just.
Well, hey, guess
marriage.
what?
Oh, there you go.
That's my bad.
Shut me down.
That was all the bros in the world slamming your phone down for telling on him. If you feel like your man or woman is throwing up some red flags, just hit Jay Stevens up between 3 and 7 this afternoon.
Maybe I should start a podcast like this lady.
He'll be the relationship guy. But we'll be back to talk about how this chick definitely went down the rabbit hole. It's Betrayal, Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 151, Betrayal, the perfect husband. So it's a crazy story. Again, these two people were in communications. They went to college together, dated. She was just like, I want to go live my dream. We're going to have to break up. He went off, did a family thing. She was a producer for Judge Judy, which I thought was funny, and Extreme Makeover, I think. Then like a lot of rekindled relationships happen. A couple of years later, they see each other in like a 20-year anniversary or high school reunion thing and hit it up on Facebook and got slid into the DMs, and
that's how it starts.
That's how they got into it until and everything was cool. She ended up leaving and going to relocate near him in Georgia, where they were kind of by where they had met originally, and Then one day she gets knocked at the door from police saying, "Hey, guess what? Your husband's not who he says he is."
That's where this guy really screwed up. You've got all these women. You're doing your thing. Do not mess with the underage girl.
That's the thing is like, when is enough enough? Like, right. I mean, like at a certain point, I just, that right there, definitely. But here's the crazy thing. Good old United States of America justice system. That guy's a free man right now. You know that, right?
Well, because in that state, she was over the age of consent. He only got in trouble for just like a teacher-student relationship thing. But she gets into his so he gets arrested. She goes into his email. She goes into his Facebook, and she just starts unraveling pictures from women everywhere. She made it sound like that's a big deal. You should see my inbox, boob pictures. I mean, dude, that's just life these days. Like, I do not send my pictures of myself out, but I get plenty pictures in my inbox.
I can't wait for that to make the promo video. Do you think justice was served in this case? You think he'd got what do you think he should have been in there longer?
Well, probably, but the law in that state,
law's the law.
Just because I feel like you shouldn't mess with any girls underage. If the law, that's what it is. I mean, whatever, that's the law. But
it's broken. I definitely don't. I mean, obviously, he's going to have to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life.
But so she wanted to talk to all these women, and she wanted to know why. She also, if you're in this situation, you should probably also step back and look. Okay, what could I have done better as well? There's a two-way street, but the guy was a player, man. You're not going to change a player.
And in her case, she wasn't doing anything wrong. And
no,
I mean,
she went crazy,
what she could have done is obviously tried to be super paranoid. But like I said, who wants to live your life? You got to be trusting. Don't give me a reason not to trust you, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, I just feel like she missed a lot of flags because
it's all in hindsight, though. It's all in hindsight.
Yeah,
I mean, it is. And again, the fact that she went through the process with this, I mean. She made it benefit. She made a podcast that I'm sure made a lot of money, sold the rights to this thing to Hulu for ABC News, and they made a lot of money off of that. So it's not like she, as a producer, she was all thinking and said, well, I'm going to use this to my benefit. And maybe that's why she did what she did.
Maybe it is. Maybe
I thought it was crazy.
Maybe she saw a money-making opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, make lemonade. She had to.
Feel bad for her next man. Imagine being her next man.
Yeah, fill those shoes, dude. We're gonna rest in peace. We are going to come back with the reviews next on 104.7 The K. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. Dark Side of the Stream episode 151. He's a good guy. He wanted to remind you one last time.
I did want to
He's learned from his ways. He's a changed man, reformed. So end of the day, how many DMs on the down low would you give this documentary?
A 3. It wasn't anything crazy.
I think they milked it a little bit too long. It could have been an hour and a half.
I feel like if you watched it and you weren't ever a player, you would probably go, wow, this is insane. But for me, it was literally, that was my life for a while.
So you're just like reliving it.
I was, I know. I know where he was at. I know where he's at.
Again, I would give it slightly more, probably 3.5. Just because I thought it was, the only reason I give it a knock was because I thought it was stretched out. But again, that was by design. It was based off a podcast, which I didn't like to talk about it.
TV drama style.
Shooting
of it. I didn't really care for that.
That was
the producer in her made that part
for sure. And again, she had every right to do it. It was her story. Props to her. Props to everyone involved that made it happen, getting the victim's story out there, getting him, getting whatever kind of justice was served in that situation done. But crazy story, and just work on that communication. That's the bottom line. All right, Jay, what is your pick for next week?
Well, I'm going to give us an easy one, nice, easy watch. Kind of the opposite of quarterbacks. It's Untold Johnny Football.
Can't wait to watch
whatever happened to Johnny Manziel. And I was curious too.
Who cares? That's what my answer is. Who cares? I can't wait to dog that guy for an hour next week on Dark Side of the Stream. As always, you can watch these at 9 a.m. on Facebook or YouTube, or listen to them on our station 104.7 The Cave, 9 a.m., 6 p.m., or as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app. I'm Mike the Intern. That's Jay Stevens, the former player, reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.